Hello folks, welcome back to What's Cooking in Bert's Kitchen. So I asked y'all what you wanted to do, and the vast majority of the responses I got was we wanted to learn to make a chocolate lava cake. It's something you've seen in a box mix, and you've loved it, but you're not sure exactly how to do it. I'm going to take all the mystery out of this because it's really simple and you can actually do it really rather quick. A few ingredients, really not much. A couple of things that you're going to learn here, but nothing out of the realm of possibilities. So, first thing we're going to need is a double boiler. Basically, we're going to take a small saucepan, put an inch and a half of water in it, set a bowl on top of it. Now, it's important when you do this that because we're melting chocolate, that we want to use a bowl that flares it out, because the steam that comes out will go this way. It won't fall as moisture back into the chocolate and seize your chocolate. Other than that, this really isn't difficult. Put it on the stove, set it on to high. We want that water to boil. Into this pan, we're going to add 5 tablespoons of butter, as well as 4 ounces of semi-sweet or bittersweet chocolate, and depending upon your like for sugar. Once this starts to heat up and steam, this will melt. We're going to stir it around a little bit so that the chocolate doesn't burn or scald or seize on the bottom. Get everything mixed well. Okay, while that's going, we're going to need another bowl. This one right here. Into this, we're going to add 2½ eggs. 2½, you're saying? Yes, we need 2 full eggs and 1 egg yolk. So, 1, 2. Now, getting to an egg yolk. So if you're not familiar with how to separate an egg, I'm going to show you a fail-safe way to get this done. You got to be willing to get your hands a little dirty. Crack the egg. Now, if you're saving the egg whites, you want to do this over a bowl or a cup. I only need the yolk, so I'm going to do it over the sink. Crack the egg right into your hand, and let all that white just drip off into the sink there. All I have in my hand now is an egg yolk. Very simple. Throw that in there. And then let's wash our hands. Now, as you see that things are starting to melt in your bowl, go over there, give it a good stir. This is going to take a couple of minutes, but we're going to mix the rest of this together while we're doing it. To our egg mixture, we are now going to need to add 3 tablespoons of sugar. 1, 2, and 3. Grab yourself a whisk, and you want to whip this really thoroughly to get the sugar, because it's so grainy to completely incorporate into your egg. So this, you're going to have to whip for a couple of minutes. You could do it with an electric mixer, and I'm just so old school, I'm used to doing this by hand. But it's going to take a couple of minutes. And we can see that our chocolate mixture is starting to steam up here, and it's all starting to melt down. You can break down that bit of butter out of the refrigerator real quick. Now you want to be careful, this steam is actually more than 212 degrees, and it will burn you, so maybe you want to get a pot holder to hold onto this bowl so it doesn't wobble around so much on you. Make sure we got that all mixed and scraped. And she's getting there. Meanwhile, back to getting this all mixed. The trick here, as well as incorporating the sugar, is we want to get this nice and fluffy. So we're beating air into it, which is why we use something like this. Not whipping it in a circle, but more of a bottom to top motion. And this will whip some air into there, get it nice and light and fluffy, and that'll help the consistency of your cake. Even though it's a very dense cake, we don't want it to be like eating wallpaper paste. Now, while this is all going on, we should be preheating our oven to 425 degrees. And there it goes. That's preheating. By the time we're ready for this, chocolate is almost done. By the time we're ready for this, the oven will be nice and warm. And there, that's completely melted. You want to turn off the thing, but save that hot water. Don't pour it down the sink, because we're going to use that. Make sure you get all that chocolate out of there. And we want to whip this in here nice and get it all through there. Make sure you get it all completely combined. You don't feel any grains of sugar. You don't see any yellow streaks from the eggs. And it's all nice and well mixed. To that, we are now going to add, sift, shall I say, 3 tablespoons of flour. Three tablespoons of flour. Not a lot of flour for a cake. True. 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder. Now, since we have a lot of chocolate in here, depending upon how sweet or savory you like your chocolate, you could cut that back to, say, maybe 2 teaspoons instead of a tablespoon. But very essential when we're working with chocolates, you need a pinch of salt. It brings out the chocolate flavor like you wouldn't believe. It helps everything to work properly. Okay, so now we've sifted all this in here. Let's get this out of the way. You want to mix this fully. Now you're saying to yourself, you didn't use any baking powder, you didn't use any baking soda, there's no leavening in there. That's correct. The eggs will leaven it enough. Because what a chocolate lava cake is, basically, is a chocolate cake, small chocolate, individual serving size chocolate cake, that is slightly undercooked. So the mixture itself in the middle is still gooey. Whereas the cake just cooks on the outside. Therefore, the higher temperature at the 425 and this very liquidy, runny cake batter, not normally as thick as you would have it. So, here's our mixture. What we're going to need is 4 individual ramekins. You could use a muffin tin, etc., etc. Personally, I happen to have these, and I like them. They make the right size. So, we're going to get 4 of these. We're going to put some nonstick spray in there. Obviously, so our cake unmolds properly. And we're going to set them inside a deep roasting pan or a casserole pan of some sort. And we're going to evenly divide our batter into our little ramekins. Now be careful so you don't make a mess. Take your time. Literally, this dessert is done in 30 minutes from start to finish, so this couple extra seconds isn't going to kill anybody. Now, you remember I told you to keep this boiling water here. We want to pour this around our ramekins. We want a water bath that comes about halfway up. So, I have that boiling water. I get hot water out of the tap to finish off the water bath, and it'll all still be in the 180 to 190 degree range when we put it in the oven. Now you want this not to come halfway up the ramekins, because I have deep ramekins. You want it to come about halfway up the cake batter. So in this case, 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, there we go. Try not to pour it into your cake batters either. That's just going to make a mess to clean up. So we pop it into the oven here. Set our timer for 15 minutes. When we pull them out, we'll unmold them, and you'll see this is just a beautiful thing. Okay, so there's our timer. Turn off our oven. So let's get these delicious goodies out of here. Now, to serve these, you're going to want to take one out. You want to take a knife, and obviously you're going to need a heat guard to protect yourself. And just go around the edges, like such, to make sure it's loose. Although if you properly grease these pans, we have no problem with that. place a plate on top of it. Turn it over. And there's our beautiful molten lava cake. Now, just to make it a little bit prettier, you want to get some powdered sugar. And our sifter again. And you'll only need a little bit of this, because trust me, when you run it through the sifter, it's going to do a fair bit of covering. Put her in there. Sift her around. Get a fair bit of covering. And voila, we have beautiful chocolate molten lava cake. Okay, so now for the moment we've all been waiting for. We cut right into the middle there. And you can see we had a nice, quite little bit of chocolate lava coming right out of the middle. So let's give her a taste. Absolutely wonderful. Perfect amount of sweetness. You'll forgive me now. I can't stop eating. So thank you for spending some time with me. And please come back for our next episode and see what's cooking in Bert's kitchen.